I'm not a lawyer, but I have got to do a recap on the hearing for Fani Willis today because y'all, it is crazy. If you need the full background on what this hearing was about, what's being alleged in the motion, and everything surrounding this, you have to go watch my other videos because I'm only going to do a quick and dirty version in this video to get you caught up. Okay, so here we go. This is Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. She is the reason Donald Trump and his 18 co-conspirators are facing RICO charges in the state of Georgia. Now, attorneys for Trump and those co-conspirators filed a motion for Fani Willis and her office to be removed from this case because, according to them, she is benefiting financially from the romantic relationship that she has with the lead prosecutor on the case. His name is Nathan Wade. In layman's terms, they're basically saying that Fani hired her boyfriend, and as boyfriends do, Nathan has taken her to dinner and taken her on trips. But the problem, according to the defense attorneys, is that the money he's using to fund those dinners and those trips is coming from the paycheck he gets from working on this case. And that would mean that she is indirectly benefiting from this case. And that would be a conflict of interest. And so they say she and her entire office should be removed. Okay, so regardless of all of the drama and the mess, because it's messy, involved in this situation, what really matters and what the defense attorneys are trying to get at and prove to the judge comes down to two things. Number one, what is the timeline of the romantic relationship between Fani and Nathan? Fani and Nathan say that they started dating in early 2002, but the defense attorneys say that they started dating in October of 2019. And the second thing that they are focused on proving in this hearing is, what did Nathan Wade spend monetarily on Fani Willis? And did it in fact come from the paycheck that he gets from Fulton County taxpayers? So Ashley Merchant, this woman, is Michael Roman's attorney, and she is the one who filed the motion from the beginning. She's the one who first made these claims, and so she's leading on the defense side. The first witness that Ashley calls is this woman. Her name is Robin Yurdy, and she claims to be a good friend of Fani's since college. At one point within the last few years, she started working at the DA's office up until 2022 when she resigned. And when she's testifying, she says that Fani and Nathan started dating in 2019. This matters because Nathan signed his contract to work on this RICO case on November 1st, 2021. And so the defense is claiming that Nathan and Fani started dating prior to him signing the contract and also prior to his marriage ending. And this ex-friend of Fani's supports that claim.
So you know that their relationship, their personal relationship, began shortly after this municipal court conference.
Yes.
And when I say personal, romantic.
Yes.
And do you understand it that their relationship began in 2019 and continued until the last time you spoke with her?
Yes.
Because this is a RICO and 18 co-defendants, there are a ton of attorneys who all get the chance to question these witnesses. So after Ashley Merchant is done with Robin Yurdy, some of the other attorneys get their chance to ask questions. And the next one up, again, focuses on the timeline.
Are you certain that Ms. Willis told you about the romantic relationship with Mr. Wade prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
Now, did you also have observations of Mr. Wade and Ms. Willis together prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
And did you observe them do things that are common among people having a romantic relationship?
Yes.
On cross-examination with Fani's attorneys, she focuses on Robin's work performance while she worked at the DA's office.
You were disciplined several times in the district attorney's office during your employment there, correct?
No.
You weren't written up ever for poor performance, Ms. Yurdy?
Once, not several.
One time you were written up for poor performance. Were you counseled several times about your performance in the district attorney's office that was subpar?
No.
Did the district attorney tell you that your performance was insufficient and that you were going to be fired?
No.
That never happened?
No. Maybe when at the end. What's the question?
The question, Ms. Yurdy, was, did the district attorney ever counsel you on your poor performance in the district attorney's office, inform you that you were going to be fired?
I don't really know how to answer that.
I'm looking for the truth.
I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, a situation happened that wasn't my fault, and I either was going to resign or be let go. So
You understood that that was the situation. You could resign or you could be let go.
correct. Yes.
And then Nathan Wade gets on the stand. Ashley Merchant starts off talking about the history that she has with Nathan.
Prior to filing this motion to disqualify, you and I were friends, correct?
Yes,
And in fact, I supported you when you ran for judge in 2016.
you did.
I wore your shirts. My kids wore your shirts.
Ms.
we carried
Merchant,
signs.
your personal opinions have no relevance.
Okay.
And
I-
I mean that in the best way.
That's
all right?
completely fine. I
Let's
will
get to
move
the
on.
point.
And then from there, Ashley focuses on some claims that Nathan Wade made in his divorce filings. These are like sworn statements that he is saying is true, but she's saying they're not.
It says to identify any and all occasions where you entertained a member of the other sex, okay, who's not related to blood,
Mhm.
and including dining, drinking, restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels, all of that. Okay. And what was your answer to that?
None.
None. Okay. You again updated that December 22nd, 2023. You updated those responses again after the motion to disqualify was filed, though, correct? And so your new responses, you now changed your answer from that you didn't have any of this to you're asserting the privilege under 24-5-505, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They asked you for documents about travel with a romantic partner in December 2023. And you under oath said you did not have any of those, correct?
I did not.
Okay.
And they asked me about gifts.
Right.
I've never purchased a gift for Miss Willis.
And they asked you about receipts for dinner, receipts for drinks, hotels, bars, and restaurants. And you said you did not have any of those.
I did not and do not have any receipts for any of those things.
Okay. But you did travel with Miss Willis in 2023, correct?
I did.
And you traveled with her in 2022, correct?
I did.
And you traveled with her in 2021, correct?
No.
So in May, you said you had not, in May 2023, in the divorce case, you said you had not had a personal relationship, an affair, a romantic relationship with anyone.
That's correct.
But you told this court in the affidavit that you did have one that started in 2022. So that would have been ongoing at 2023.
So here I think there's a distinction, if you'd allow me to explain.
Please.
The interrogatory asked the question during the course of your marriage.
Or to date.
So my marriage was irretrievably broken in 2015, ma'am, by agreement. My wife and I agreed that once she had the affair in 2015, that we'd get a divorce. We didn't get a divorce immediately because my children were still in school and I refused to allow them to grow up without their father at the time. So we waited. We waited until the youngest graduated and we dropped her off at college and then filed for the divorce. So if you're asking me about the interrogatory as it relates to having the 2022 relationship with District Attorney Willis, I'm going to say because my marriage was irretrievably broken, I was free to have a relationship.
So the question, though, was if you had had a relationship. And in 2023, you said you did not. And that is different than what you said in this affidavit, correct?
No, ma'am. I said during the course of my marriage. So in 2015, my marriage was irretrievably broken. So I did not have a relationship with anyone during the course of my marriage.
Ashley asked Nathan very directly when his relationship with Fani started and the circumstances surrounding how they met.
When did your romantic relationship with Miss Willis begin?
2022,
When in 2022?
early 2022.
So you were appointed in November of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
And your relationship started early. What's early? January? February?
Around March.
But you two met at an October 2019 judicial conference, correct?
Yes, ma'am. As I was exiting the conference, another judge was standing outside who was a friend of mine, and standing talking to her at the time was then Judge Willis. We shook hands, exchanged business cards, and I got into my vehicle and left the conference. Didn't talk to her again, maybe a month or a month and a half had gone by.
Okay, and then we get into money because remember, what's important here is the financial benefit that Fani has gained from dating Nathan Wade and prosecuting this case. So her questions are specifically around what Nathan paid for when they went on vacations.
You see, I have booked a flight or I've paid for a flight with my credit card. What you don't see is that she covered her own flight reimbursement to me. The flights that you see here are the flights that she would have booked with her own resources, with her own car.
did you take a trip with her to Aruba in 2022?
Yes, ma'am. So my mother had recently retired, and I decided to take my mother on a cruise.
Okay.
And the second leg after the cruise concluded, DA Willis and I went to Aruba. So
One of the other defense attorneys gets up to question Nathan, and he gets right to it.
Describe each instance in which you have had sexual relations with a person other than your spouse during the course of the marriage, including the period of separation. You see that?
yes, sir.
Now, these were filed on May the 30th, 2023, correct?
Yes, sir.
As of May the 30th, 2023, you had had sexual relations with Miss Willis, isn't that correct?
The interrogatory, sir, asks during the course of the marriage and the period of separation.
Excuse me.
My
Your Honor,
response,
I would ask that the court direct the witness to answer my question, yes or no.
my answer to this interrogatory is none, is no.
So you're saying that you did not have sexual relationships with anyone outside of your marriage, and the period of separation is during the period, then you're answering the question to this interrogatory, correct, sir?
I'm saying during the course of my marriage, I did not have sexual relations to anyone, and this answers no.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes,
Okay. So as of May the 30th, 2023, you have done a lot, or you had done a lot of entertaining of Miss Willis, had you not?
I had done some, yes.
And in fact, under your testimony, you would have said that she had also entertained you. Isn't that correct?
Yes,
And so your answer to this interrogatory is false, is it not, sir?
no, it's not false.
This attorney also follows up about cash payments that Nathan said Fani gave him.
Then you tell us that Miss Willis paid you in cash, all the money for the entire trip. It was a gift for you for your birthday, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure you probably have the deposit slips where you took the cash and deposited the cash into your account, don't you?
I did not deposit the cash in my account.
You don't have a single solitary deposit slip to corroborate or support any of your allegations that you were paid by Mrs. Willis in cash, do you?
No, sir.
Not a single solitary one.
Not a one.
Now, when Miss Willis would pay you in cash, would you scamper down to the ATM with her and as she drew money out of her account
Your
to
Honor.
pay you these thousands of dollars?
Mr. Gillen might scamper, but there's been no evidence that Mr. Wade does. I object to the phrasing, the argumentative nature of the question.
No, sir. She didn't go to the ATM. She carried the cash.
Oh, and so she would give you the cash. And do you have a little place in your house where you just stack up all this cash that you apparently got to repay you for these benefits that you bestowed on her?
Now, Mr. Gillen, if I answered that, I'm putting myself in jeopardy. If I tell the world that I have cash someplace in my home, don't you think that that could be problematic?
No, I don't. I want an answer as to whether or not you have a little cash hoard in your house where you have allegedly taken the money that you got from Mrs. Willis and went and put it somewhere. Where'd you
No,
put it?
no, sir. The only special place that cash would have gone would have been to one of my children.
Did you ask her, did you ask Miss Willis, do you have anything to support these cash withdrawals?
No, sir.
Were you aware of what her financial situation was? Do you know what?
No, sir.
Got it.
No, sir. Miss Willis made it clear that her financial business was just that. It was her business. I know nothing about her financial status. I know nothing about how she was faring before or after the election, or even now. I know nothing about her finances.
Telling us.
Child, and then Nathan said that he and Fani weren't secret, they were just private. He said he wasn't hiding Fani from the world, he was hiding the world from Fani. I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
If you're asking me if people knew that we were having sex, no, they didn't.
I'm asking you whether the people knew that you were dating, whether you were romantically involved. You said that it was not a secret.
Oh, it wasn't a secret. It was just private. My mother knew, obviously.
Did anyone in the district attorney's office that has worked on this case know that you were dating or had a romantic relationship with District Attorney Willis?
I don't know what they knew.
Well, did you tell anyone?
No.
One of the other questions that Nathan got was, why did he happen to file for divorce the day after he signed the contract to work on this case and work with Fani?
So Again, Joycelyn had relocated to Texas, and she had been in Texas for months. She was only here for a brief period of time to drive my daughter's car back with her. And when she came here to do that, I was able to then get her served.
On cross-examination, Fani Willis's attorney highlights that Nathan made less money when he agreed to be special prosecutor on this case. And because there was a cap on how much he could actually make, he essentially worked for free for a lot of the hours.
So as reflected in those financial affidavits, your income decreased as a result of your work in this case, correct?
Significantly.
Invoice number 9, Mr. Wade, indicates that you performed hours of work that you were not compensated for because your cap had been reached.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to take and what did you do in those circumstances? When the hours that you worked per month were more than the cap that was in your contract that you were permitted to be paid for?
I was forced to lose that time. I didn't get paid for it.
Nathan Wade also discloses that he was actually battling cancer during COVID, and that prevented him from dating and from going many places.
In 2020, and a portion of 21, I was battling cancer, and that prevented me from pretty much leaving the environments that aren't sterile, and I had health on my mind.
Come back for part 3 because I'm about to tell you about Fani, and it is worth the wait. Believe me.